The man had not seen real sunlight in 18 years. The light that filled his cell was always white, always flat, and always artificial. It never changed. There was no morning or night, no shadow to mark time. Only the slow hum of machines and the quiet breathing of a man the galaxy had forgotten. His name was Elias Mercer. At least it had been. In the alien records, he was known only as human specimen H4419. Elias sat on the edge of the narrow bed, his hands resting on his knees. His body was thin but strong in a quiet way. Years of controlled movement, limited space, and careful survival had shaped him into something compact and efficient. His hair had gone gray long before its time, and his face carried lines that came not from age alone, but from silence. 18 years without touch. 18 years without hearing another human voice. 18 years of being observed, measured, and ignored. The aliens had taken him during the last days of Earth's resistance. Back then, Elias had been a soldier, young and angry, full of noise and hope. He remembered shouting orders, the sound of boots on steel, the sky burning above the city. He remembered thinking that humans would fight forever. He had been wrong. Most humans were either killed, relocated, or placed into labor systems. Elias was different. Tests showed that his nervous system reacted unusually to long-term stress. Where others broke down, he stabilized. Where others collapsed, he slowed, so they locked him away, not to punish him, but to wait. The door of his cell opened without sound. Elias looked up calmly. He always did. Panic had no use here. Panic only wasted energy, and energy was something the aliens measured closely. 3 figures entered. They were tall and thin, their skin a pale blue-gray that reflected the white light. Their eyes were black and wide, unblinking. Metal bands wrapped around their arms and chests, glowing softly with data streams. Behind them floated a drone, its lens fixed on Elias. "Specimen H4419, one of them said. The translator made the voice flat and emotionless. "You are being reassigned." Elias stood slowly. He did not ask why. Questions rarely brought answers. Instead, he asked the only thing that mattered. "Alive," he said. The alien paused for half a second. That was unusual. "Yes," it replied. "At this time." Elias nodded. They placed a restraint around his wrists, but it was loose. They had learned that tight restraints caused his heart rate to drop in ways they did not fully understand. He followed them without resistance, his bare feet silent on the smooth floor. As they moved through the corridors, Elias noticed something different. The air felt warmer. The hum of machines was louder. There were more lights, more movement. This was not a storage wing. This was a research sector. Other beings passed them, aliens of different shapes and sizes, all busy, all focused. None of them looked at Elias with fear. Most did not look at him at all. To them, he was not a person. He was a container. They brought him into a large chamber filled with curved machines and hanging cables. At the center was a platform shaped to fit a human body. Transparent panels surrounded it, glowing with symbols and flowing data. One alien stepped closer, its eyes scanning Elias from head to toe. "This human has remained isolated for 18 standard cycles," it said to the others. "No physical contact, minimal stimulation, emotional suppression confirmed." Another alien tilted its head. "Probability of instability, low," the first replied. "Unusual adaptation observed." Elias listened quietly. He understood more of their language than they realized. Years of silence had sharpened his attention. Every word mattered when there were so few. They guided him onto the platform. The surface adjusted to his shape, supporting his back, his legs, his neck. Soft restraints closed around his arms and chest, firm but not painful. Above him, a device lowered slowly. It was shaped like a crown, lined with thin filaments that glowed faintly. Elias took a slow breath. "So this is it," he said calmly. The aliens paused again. "This procedure will not cause physical harm," one of them said. Your biological output will be extracted and recorded. You mean you're going to take something, Elias said. Yes, he smiled faintly. That's been happening for a long time. They did not understand the tone. They never did. The filaments touched his skin, sending a cool sensation across his scalp. Lights brightened. Data streams increased. Machines began to hum in complex patterns. This was not the first test Elias had been through, but it was the first time the room reacted to him. Within seconds, warning symbols flashed across the panels. Energy readings climbed faster than expected. Neural activity spiked, then stabilized at a level the system struggled to contain. One alien stepped back. The output is exceeding baseline. Adjust intake, another said. Maintain flow. Elias closed his eyes. As the system reached into his nervous system, it did not pull memories like it did with other species. It touched something deeper. It brushed against years of quiet endurance. It found the long hours where Elias sat alone and did nothing because doing nothing was safer than hoping. It found the memories of faces he refused to forget, even when the pain was sharp. It found restraint, control, patience. Elias did not fight the process. Fighting wasted energy. Instead, he did what he had learned to do best. He endured. The machines responded. Energy output rose again. The aliens exchanged rapid signals. This level of extraction should have caused distress, pain, emotional collapse. But Elias' heart rate remained steady. His breathing was slow. His mind was focused. This human is regulating the process, one alien said, confusion clear even through the translator. That is impossible, another replied. Elias opened his eyes. Is it? He asked softly. The system surged. For the first time since humanity's fall, an alien facility recorded a simple, frightening truth. Humans did not break when emptied. They adapted. And somewhere deep in the data, an automated flag appeared, unnoticed for the moment, marked in quiet red symbols. Incompatible specimen. Do not repeat without authorization. The process continued. And Elias Mercer lay still, eyes open, waiting to see what would happen next. The extraction did not stop when the alarms appeared. Instead, the machines adjusted themselves, changing rhythm and pressure, trying to understand what they were connected to. The lights above Elias flickered, then steadied. The filaments pressed more firmly against his scalp, and the platform beneath him grew warm. Elias felt it all, but feeling did not mean losing control. For years, control had been the only thing that belonged to him. The system pushed deeper, searching for weakness. It reached into memories meant to break him, moments of fear and loss, long stretches of empty time where nothing happened and no one came. With other species, this stage caused panic. Minds scattered, hearts raced, bodies resisted. Elias did none of that. He let the memories pass through him like slow water. He remembered Earth, yes. He remembered the sound of rain against metal, the smell of burned air after battle, the weight of armor on tired shoulders. He remembered faces, but he did not chase them. He acknowledged them and let them go. The machine did not understand this. The output climbed again. Stability remains, one alien said, its voice tense. Neural collapse not detected. That contradicts all previous models, another replied. They began sending rapid signals to observers outside the chamber. Screens filled with rising numbers and unfamiliar patterns. The system was no longer just extracting. It was reacting. Elias felt a strange pressure behind his eyes, like standing near a powerful engine. He realized the machine was not only taking energy, it was connected to him in a loop. It was listening. For the first time in 18 years, something was responding to him. He focused on his breathing, slow and even. With each breath, the pressure changed slightly, as if the system was adjusting itself to his rhythm. That should not have been possible. The machine was designed to dominate, not to follow, but it followed anyway. The aliens noticed the shift. The interface is synchronizing, one said quietly. That function was not enabled, another answered. Elias opened his eyes and looked at the transparent panel above him. Lines of alien symbols flowed like water. He did not know what they all meant, but patterns were patterns, no matter the language. "You're not in control anymore," he said softly. The translator carried his words clearly. One alien stepped closer, its eyes fixed on the data. "Human specimen, remain passive." Elias almost laughed. Passive was what he had been for 18 years. Passive while time passed. Passive while the galaxy decided his value. This was different. Without moving his body, Elias shifted his focus. He imagined tightening his grip on the calm he had built over years of silence. He imagined narrowing his thoughts into a single point, sharp and steady. The machine reacted instantly. Energy surged through the system, not outward but inward. Feedback rippled through the cables. A low vibration filled the chamber. An alarm sounded deeper and more urgent than before. "Disconnect," one alien ordered. "It is not responding to termination commands," another replied. "The loop is self-sustaining." Elias felt it then. The connection was no longer one way. The system was touching his mind, but his mind was touching it back. He sensed the structure of the network, the way signals traveled through it like roads. He did not see images, but he felt direction. Instinct guided him. Elias pushed. The pressure behind his eyes became sharper, then spread outward. The vibration increased. One of the drones wobbled in the air and crashed softly against the wall. The aliens stepped back, their movements uncertain. "This human is influencing the interface," one said, fear finally breaking through the flat tone. "This should not be possible." Elias took a slow breath and spoke carefully. "You built a system to pull strength from suffering," he said. "You just never understood what human suffering looks like." The platform restraints loosened slightly as the system tried to compensate. Elias felt warmth spread through his chest, not painful, not pleasant, just powerful. It reminded him of standing too close to a reactor core long ago, when everything vibrated with stored force. The chamber doors slid open. More aliens entered, some wearing different markings, others followed by larger drones armed with containment tools. They surrounded the platform at a cautious distance. One of the newcomers spoke, its voice sharper. "Terminate the subject." "We cannot," another replied. "The energy flow is embedded in the network. Termination may destabilize the sector." The newcomer turned its gaze to Elias. "Human, you will disengage." Elias looked at the alien calmly. "You took 18 years from me," he said. "I think I'll take a few minutes from you." He closed his eyes again. This time he did not just endure, he explored. The connection opened further and Elias felt layers of the system unfold. He sensed other chambers, other interfaces. He sensed faint signals that felt different from machines. Living minds, other captives. His chest tightened. He had known, logically, that others existed. But feeling them, faint and distant, changed something inside him. He pushed gently toward one of the signals. Somewhere else in the facility, a small indicator flickered. A monitor displayed an unexpected spike. "What is happening?" an alien asked. "The human is expanding the loop," another said. "He is accessing adjacent systems. That level of access requires authorization." Elias felt resistance now, like pushing against thick air. He did not force it. Force was not how he survived. He adjusted, slowed, and slid around the resistance. A memory surfaced in his mind, uninvited. A training exercise from long ago, moving through a narrow passage under fire. Don't rush. Don't panic. Breathe and move. The resistance weakened. Suddenly he felt another presence more clearly. A mind not human but afraid, confused, alone. Elias reached out through the connection, not with words but with intention, calm, steadiness. The presence responded weakly, like a hand reaching back in the dark. The system reacted violently. "Power levels are exceeding safe limits," an alien shouted. Cables sparked. Lights dimmed across the chamber. One of the armed drones shut down midair and dropped to the floor. Elias opened his eyes. The aliens were no longer hiding their fear. "You built this place to harvest us," he said, his voice still calm. "You thought isolation made us empty. You were wrong." The lead alien raised one arm, its device glowing brightly. "Sever the neural interface now." The filaments pulled away from Elia's scalp in a sudden motion. Pain flared briefly, sharp and bright, but Elias did not cry out. He gritted his teeth and focused on breathing. The pressure vanished. The vibration stopped. For a moment there was only silence. Elias lay still, his chest rising and falling. His head throbbed, but his mind felt clear, clearer than it had in years. The platform restraints released fully. He sat up slowly. No one stopped him. The aliens stood frozen, their confidence shattered. The machines around them flickered, many locked in error states. The system that had defined control in this place had been touched by something it could not predict. Elias swung his legs over the side of the platform and stood. His knees were weak, but they held. He felt lighter, as if something heavy had been removed from him, or perhaps returned. An alien finally spoke. "You will be confined again." Elias looked around the chamber, at the broken drone, the dimmed lights, the unstable screens. He met the alien's gaze. "No," he said simply. He took one step forward. Nothing happened. No restraints tightened. No weapons fired. The aliens did not know what would happen if they attacked him now. The system was still unstable. The network still carried traces of his presence. Elias took another step. Somewhere deep in the facility, another alarm sounded, different from the others. This one was not loud. It was a quiet signal, spreading slowly through secure channels. A warning. Human specimen H4419 was no longer classified as passive. Elias felt it too. The faint signals of other minds were still there, distant but present. The connection was weaker now, but not gone. He turned toward the chamber exit. As he walked, he realized something that made his steps steadier. For the first time in 18 years, he was not alone. And the aliens, watching him leave the platform, began to understand something far more dangerous than power loss or system failure. They had not just extracted energy from a human. They had shown him the door. Elias walked through the corridor without being stopped. That alone told him how much had changed. The lights along the hallway flickered as he passed, not because he touched anything, but because the system itself had not fully recovered from him. The air carried a faint vibration, like a deep breath being held by the station. Behind the walls, machines recalculated. Behind the machines, minds worried. The aliens did not follow him closely. They kept their distance, speaking in fast, quiet signals Elias could not hear, but he could feel the tension in the way they moved. They were careful now, careful around a human. Elias did not rush. Rushing led to mistakes. He walked the way he always had, steady, alert, aware of every sound and change in pressure. His bare feet made no noise on the smooth floor. As he moved farther from the chamber, the faint presence he had felt earlier returned more clearly. It was not one mind. It was many. Weak signals scattered across the facility. Some were human, others were not. All of them carried the same feeling, suppression. Elias stopped walking. The aliens noticed immediately. "What is he doing?" one whispered through the translator. Elias closed his eyes. The connection was thin now, like a fading echo, but it was still there. He focused on it the way he had learned to focus on breath during long nights alone. Slow, calm, patient. The system responded, not strongly, not fully, but enough. Somewhere nearby, a door unlocked with a soft sound, a small sound, but Elias heard it. He opened his eyes and turned toward the door. It slid open as he approached, revealing a narrow room filled with containment pods. Inside them were shapes, some humanoid, some not, all motionless, suspended in energy fields, alive. Elias felt his chest tighten. 18 years alone had taught him to survive without hope, but it had not killed it. He stepped inside. The aliens hesitated at the doorway. "This area is restricted," one said. Elias looked back at them. His face was calm, but his eyes were not empty anymore. "So was my life," he replied. He reached out and placed his hand against one of the pods. The surface was warm. Inside, a human woman floated, her face relaxed but pale. "She's alive," Elias said quietly. "Yes," an alien answered. "Preserved." "Stored," Elias corrected. He focused again, gently pushing through the connection. The system resisted, but weaker than before. It was damaged. Confused, a pod nearby powered down with a soft hiss. The woman inside gasped as the field faded, her body settling onto the platform beneath her. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused but alive. An alarm sounded instantly. "Containment breach," an alien shouted. Elias stepped back, placing himself between the freed pod and the aliens. "You don't want to do this," he said. Weapons rose. Elias did not move. He simply breathed. The lights flickered again, stronger this time. Several weapons powered down mid-aim. One alien stumbled as its support field failed. Fear spread openly now. "You built this place on control," Elias said, his voice steady and clear. "You forgot one thing." The alien stared at him. "Control only works," he continued, "when the one being controlled believes they are alone." The woman behind him coughed weakly. Another pod nearby began to unlock on its own. The system was no longer listening to orders. It was responding to intent. Across the facility, doors opened. Fields weakened. Systems designed to isolate began to connect instead. Minds that had been kept apart brushed against each other, sharing fear, confusion, and then something new: awareness. The aliens tried to shut it down. They failed. Elias moved quickly now, guiding the freed woman to sit safely against the wall. She looked up at him, her eyes wide. "Human?" she whispered. "Yes," Elias said simply. Tears filled her eyes. He turned back to the pods, releasing more captives as the system allowed. Not all at once, not recklessly. He remembered what sudden freedom felt like to a body that had been still too long. He was careful. Outside the room, the aliens retreated, sealing sections of the corridor, but it did not matter. The damage had spread beyond walls. A signal escaped the facility. Not a message, a recording, data from the extraction chamber, from the network reaction, from Elias himself. Someone somewhere had tagged it automatically before the aliens could erase it. "Watch before delete." The label spread through alien systems like a quiet infection. Curiosity overcame caution. Analysts watched. What they saw terrified them. A human who did not break under isolation. A mind that adapted instead of collapsing. A species that turned deprivation into strength. By the time the order to delete the file came, it was too late. The idea had escaped. Back in the facility, Elias felt the connection weakening further. The system was failing fast now. He knew he did not have much time. He gathered the freed captives, guiding them through corridors that opened for him and closed behind them. Some walked. Some were carried. Some were not human, but they followed him anyway. Not because he commanded them, because he was calm. They reached a large hangar filled with inactive transport ships. Emergency lights bathed the space in red. An alien commander waited there, surrounded by guards. "This ends now," the commander said. "You cannot leave this place." Elias stopped a few steps away. "You're wrong," he said. "It already ended." The commander raised its weapon. The lights went out, total darkness. For one long second, nothing moved. Then emergency systems kicked in, weak and uneven. The commander's weapon did not reactivate. Elias stepped forward. "You studied us," he said. "You measured us, you isolated us." He looked at the gathered captives behind him. "You never understood us." The commander's voice shook. "You are dangerous." Elias nodded once. "No," he said, "we are." A ship powered up behind him. Then another. Then another. The system, broken and confused, no longer recognized alien authority. It responded to human presence instead, to intention, to resilience. Elias led the captives onto the nearest transport. As the doors closed, alien guards did not stop them. They watched. The ship lifted off, breaking free from the facility with a violent shudder. Other ships followed, launching blindly into space. Behind them, the station began to shut down. Elias stood near the viewport, watching the stars stretch as the ship jumped into faster space. For the first time in 18 years, he felt tired, not empty, not numb, just tired. The woman he had freed earlier sat nearby, wrapped in a thermal blanket. She looked at him carefully. "You saved us," she said. Elias shook his head. "No," he replied, "I remembered us." Across the galaxy, the leaked recording spread. Governments, coalitions, and empires watched the same thing. A human alone for 18 years, not broken, not erased, adapted. Alien strategies shifted overnight. Harvest programs were halted. Isolation chambers were shut down. Humans were no longer classified as passive resources. They were reclassified as something else. Unpredictable, resilient, dangerous when underestimated. The recording was officially erased, but the idea remained. Somewhere in deep space, Elias Mercer stood among other survivors, no longer a specimen, no longer alone. Humanity had been watched. Humanity had endured. And now the galaxy would think twice before trying to empty a human ever again.